Her story deals with a subculture of heavy metal music that some feel is sending a dangerous message to your kids.
The forces of evil on the dark side of devil rock.
And I want to talk tonight about the devil and demons and witches and wizards.
And we just mix it up with hardcore and aggression and come out with something we think is an original sound.
Loud, fast, heavy, you know.
Well, what do you got?
What do you got?
You're listening to Riff Worship, the podcast that attempts to answer the age-old question, what makes riff? Why do we care about riffs? Talking about albums that feature our favorite riffs, talking to people who make great riffs. I'm one of your hosts, Austin Paulson. With me, as always, are my friends in music and in life. Swindle, Dylan, what we doing?
Hanging out,
yeah.
Hanging out.
Very special episode. This record, our topic of discussion today, very near and dear to my heart. I feel like this band kind of came to me at a time when I was very young and impressionable, making my way through the world. I guess I kind of have you guys to blame. But we're also kind of celebrating the 10th anniversary of this record. I'm, of course, talking about Lightless Walk by Cult Leader, the debut record from 2015. And we got some members of the band with us today. Michael Mason, Sam Richards. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this band and this record and kind of looking back.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I really appreciate it. I kind of want to start this. I definitely want to get into this record, but one thing we like to ask a lot of people on this show, first and foremost, is what makes a riff? You know, we all love them, but as like a musician and a listener, what do you look for in a riff? What does it need? What do you gravitate towards in a riff?
Go, Sam.
I just play bass. I think for me, it's probably like, is it something memorable that you can repeat? You know, because you could just be playing around on the guitar or something. But if something like, you know, like in terms of writing like Cult Leader, it's like if something Mike's playing around with perks up like Casey's ears and it's like, wait, stop, try to play this thing. And, you know, same thing if, you know, you're listening to another band's riff, I think it's kind of less of a chord progression and wrung out and just something busier that's like memorable, I guess. Mike, do you agree? Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, in the general sense, a riff is just something that makes me feel something, whether it's rhythm or melody or a combination of both, or in our band, neither. It's just something that makes you feel something more than, So that's what a riff is to me. I mean, early on with Cult Leader, and it's still maybe true to this day, or with any band, like when four dudes get in a room and you're sitting there, you know, playing, tinkering with stuff, usually a good riff happens when all four of you stop playing and are just laughing, like how absurd whatever you just did was. And I mean, that's the definition of a good riff to me, is where like it can stop four dudes that are halfway okay at their instrument to be like, what in the world? I mean, that's the start of a good riff. So
I like that. Yeah. Do you guys remember? Do you remember what I did there? Can we recreate that?
I mean, early. So like with Cult Leader, we'd all practice together. In like Lightless Walk time, we'd practice 3 or 4 times a week back then. And we would usually come, like, Anthony's a really good guitarist, Sam is a really good guitarist, Casey's actually a really good guitarist. So there's 4 of us, and any of us could bring riffs to the table. But typically we would just get in a room and play. So like riffs would come out of riffs. We called an old bag of riffs. Like we had riffs back when Gaza started that I hadn't used. Like riffs can just hang around if they don't have any friends. They just kind of go in the corner. But like if we would have started recording back then, we would probably have 6 albums. Riffs are a crazy thing. Songs are a crazy thing. And we should have been recording a long time ago. Recording our practices. I mean, our practices are 3 hours long, and we get about 20 minutes worth of stuff done because we're usually just making shit up. Like usually it's a comedy fest. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, a riff needs to make you feel something.
Does it feel good knowing that you like can't write anything that Casey can't make up the craziest drum part to? Like, no matter what you fucking make up, he's gonna come up with some crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean there are a few riffs where we've had to change them because he couldn't write something too. So
There we go.
take that, Casey. But I mean with having four guys in a band that are really good at guitar, it's really easy to fix whatever thing they're thinking. So yeah, no, Casey usually makes a riff sound a million times better. So Sam's there to fuck it up.
If I could take it back to like the very, very beginning for a second, do you remember some of like the first riffs that you gravitated towards that you were like, I have to learn how to do that, or like this is what I'm going to do. Like I want to try to replicate this feeling I have right now.
Like playing guitar, like
yeah,
early on.
You pick up an instrument. Was there a particular band or riff that you maybe first sat down and learned to play, or anything that sticks out in your mind?
Nothing that I was like, I want to play that. I mean, the first song I ever learned was Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I mean, that's a, I wouldn't call that a beginner's riff. It's not like, it's not, but no, I liked, I mean, that riff made me feel something, obviously, when I was younger, and I don't know why. But I mean, I could say the same thing about Collective Soul and bands like that. So, yeah. What's the first riff you did, Sam? I don't even know.
I grew up on Green Day, so it's just you learn When I Come Around, and you might get the open chord version of it or the power chord version of it. So less riffs and more just punk rock chords.
How long before you guys start playing in bands? Because Mike, I know you and Casey have been pretty much playing since high school. Was that kind of your first?
We're 15, yeah.
Yeah. Was that some of your first musical outlets right there, or?
I mean, yes and no. He was a grade older than me in high school, and we were kind of known as like the dickheads that were good at their instruments. And we really didn't hang out. But like mutual friends were like, you guys need to play music together. And that's how that started. And it's been a long time now. Anyway, yeah.
Sam, was Cool Your Jets like the first thing you were doing, or was there something before that project?
That was the first thing I ever like toured in. I wasn't ever really like an official member of that band. It's kind of funny. I was there when like promo pictures got taken, and somehow like my name's in the CD, and it's like I got like kind of whisked into that. But that was like, join my friend Matt's band, help him, play bass or guitar on like a tour or something, like right out of high school. Same thing, kind of like probably 05, 06, pretty early.
Well, I feel like I obviously knowing you guys and being a fan over the years, like I feel like maybe you kind of expose me, I guess, to interject myself to like the scene in general in Salt Lake. But without really having a lot of knowledge of that, what was the scene like when you were first involved with it? How has it changed over time?
That's Sam, man. I've always been as far away from the music scene as possible.
Oh, really?
I mean, not necessarily for any reason other than I had other interests. So other than I know there's a lot of talented musicians that have come and live in Salt Lake or Utah in general. But yeah, I couldn't answer that question.
Sorry, was the question about like when we were starting or just in general when we were starting to go?
Yeah, I was just curious, like, was there a particular like trend going on? Like, I feel like, just listening to some of the interviews, like there are definitely like some DIY spaces to go see hardcore shows. Like, just out of curiosity, like maybe when you first became involved with it, like what bands were you going to see? Like, what was it like?
When I first started going to shows, I mean, like I remember going to like Kilby Court when it was literally just like a garage in like a really sketchy alley, and like bands practice there, and then you could go catch like a punk or ska show or a hardcore show or something there. I don't know that Salt Lake's ever had like a sound or like a trend because we're kind of isolated. We're not like in New York or in LA or something where you can just like think of like, the Bay Area sound or like New York hardcore or something. It's like, so it's kind of like, well, I like, Form of Rocket, and I guess that's noise rock, or I like Loom, and that's, prog math indie rock stuff, or, um, just kind of, I kind of grew up playing shows in like punk and hardcore bands because that was like what was easy to pick up and play with my friends. And so with that, you had to really be in the DIY thing because you just couldn't find places to play unless you found some weird like VFW hall or play in the basement of a head shop or record store or something. Like we just had to find places. There were a lot of places that were not open to letting like heavy music exist, or not exist, but just like, shows with heavy music. Like there was a whole period of time where like Kilby Court, you couldn't play like hardcore or like heavy shows there. So I think it's been in a lot healthier space for the last 10 or so years. Like I see a lot of people on their Instagram stories going to hardcore shows, and it's all still alive and stuff. But I mean, a lot of the venues that we grew, Cult Leader started playing, like Shred Shed doesn't exist anymore. And so it all comes and goes. It's like our town's, Salt Lake's been gentrified and everything's just turning into 5-story condos. But there's places to play. There's like all age places and bars and stuff, and like a scene that's trying to hold it together, and like lots and lots of incredible people and bands.
I'm sure like COVID, the shutdown didn't help with that at all. It didn't, like in any DIY community, all kinds of spaces got shuttered because of that shit.
Yeah, like it's weird to think that like club sound in the venue doesn't exist anymore. And I'm just like, I've gone to so many shows there, seen so many iconic, bands there. I've worked there. Like you're just like, wow, that's just now it's just condos, you know. But that just happens as cities grow, I guess.
You mentioned Shred Shed. That's kind of where that's like your first show as Cult Leader, at least, was at that venue, correct?
Yep.
It seemed like, and maybe just kind of transitioning into the history a little bit. It seemed like things happened fairly quickly after, kind of Gaza dissolved. Like, how soon after, did you know, like, okay, we still want to play? Like how quickly did you start kind of forming the idea for this band? Was there a particular goal in mind?
It officially formed before we announced that Gaza was no more. Because there was a little transition period there. We were trying to figure out if we wanted to keep going as Gaza or just figuring out those little things. We knew we wanted to keep playing music, but it started really quick. And yeah, I can't. Casey was the one that brought up Sam. We had known Sam. I think we'd played with Reviver before. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had known of Sam, and Casey really knew of him, and he was kind of the only guy on the list that Casey was like, "Hey, we need to get this guy." And this was after like we were thinking about getting a new singer for a while. And then Anthony, who played bass in Gaza, he was like, "Hey, I want to give singing a shot," which we kind of took us back because we're like, that's not his personality at all. That's not like, but he's like, I think I want to give this a shot, and so I was like, we either find a new guitarist or another guitarist or a bass player, and then that's where Casey's like, "Hey, this guy Sam, he's toured a lot. He's an amazing guitarist. Like we should talk with him." So I think our friends Russian Circles were in town, and I think we invited Sam to come with us. Does that sound right, Sam?
Yeah, they were on tour with Coheed and Cambria, and we went and played hooky after their set and hung out at Gentry's or whatever. And
yeah,
we were still like Cult Leader wasn't announced. I was just some guy.
I think it's like, when we first asked you like that. We were getting the vibe check to see if this guy could hang with us dumbasses. Like checking out his humor level and how low it would go. he passed the test. And yeah, we didn't try out anyone. I don't even know if we had like a I mean, it wasn't even a tryout. We just like, hey, you want to play music with us? Like, it's not like we turned down Les Claypool or, like it was just him and like, let's go. Let's write some stuff. So yeah, it happened. I mean, it happened quick.
Sam, did you feel like, obviously these guys had established a dynamic together. Did you feel any like hurdles coming in, or was it pretty seamless?
No, I felt like it was pretty natural. I mean, we had grown up in our separate bands and had all done very similar things with our lifestyle. So I feel like we're very much comrades in the sense of being like the same types of people in a lot of ways. But I was aware of their band, liked their band, I felt like I got it. So to be like, oh, I get to play bass where like this is one of my favorite drummers and one of my favorite guitarists kind of thing, like this is really cool. And so I just remember like the first time we jammed, I brought like a guitar and a bass because Casey was kind of mysterious about what they wanted from me. But I just remember picking up a bass and we were playing around with some riffs that would end up being in Flightless Birds on the Nothing First Here EP. There's like a part where Mike's cartwheeling out on something and I lock in on some polyrhythmic thing when Casey went halftime or something. And that was the moment where Casey's like, I feel like he was like, you're in the band. Like we just like we wrote a part that was just like too weird and it's like almost formulaic of a thing we do in a number of songs. And it's just where it's just like, oh, that's like fresh, even original to their chemistry, So I just felt like we bonded very, very quickly over just the bag of riffs that Mike had and just me trying to figure out where I exist between him and Casey, I guess.
Early on, was there anything y'all were intentional about in your writing to like separate the new band from the old band?
Yeah. I mean, we were intentional in like cutting out we wanted to be more straightforward in the sense of not having the really weirdo parts, like we intentionally didn't do it. Like I have a bag of a million riffs that have a bunch of tapping, nonsense in it. And we were like, none of that's going in this band. We're going to be straightforward in 13, 16 or whatever times, So like, but yeah, we wanted it to be to the point. And I think that was one of Anthony's big pushes is not that we dumb things down, but we got rid of some of the screwy stuff early on. And I mean, just the nature of me, I'd always try and throw it in. But like Anthony, Casey, and Sam are both like, they're all like, nah.
I like a little bit of circus is okay.
Yeah. That's all I got is circus, man.
The clown riffs. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we call them clown riffs or boner riffs. But
clown riffs.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a new one for this show. I love that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that would be one thing. We'd be in practice and Casey or Anthony or Sam, they'd be like, less clown.
More squawk, more of the hell squawk and less clown.
Yeah. So
if we named our episodes, that would certainly be the name of this episode is Less Clown.
Less clown.
Do it. Yeah. That's hard to do. If you knew all four of us, that's hard to do. Hard to do.
You mentioned having some ideas from like several years leading up. What did you how like I don't know if you could put it like a percentage, but like would you say there was quite a lot of riffs that you'd been sitting on for a while, or did you mostly start fresh when you kind of wrote the EP?
I would say it was like 50-50. I mean, like an old riff can turn into a new riff. So a lot of them were ideas, but like a lot of stuff just spontaneously happened at practice, because we're not a jam band, but when we're writing, that's kind of what we're doing, whether it's a part but yeah, so like probably 50-50 on like old riffs. And those could be riffs from when we were doing No Absolutes to riffs that were pre-East EP. Like, you never know when a riff might, like I said earlier, find a buddy and like start to make a song. So yeah. And then a lot of stuff was spontaneous. I mean, Anthony, again, really, really good guitarist. He wrote all of Mongrel. Like he just brought that into practice one day and it's like, hey, check this out. And like Anthony is he's a very interesting guitarist in that he has some of the best right hand technique, not to be nerd, but like his right hand, I don't know too many players better with his right hand, picking hand. But like he's very fluid. Like I think he's very emotionally driven, writing music. And like he'll bring riffs in, but he will never play the same riff twice. Like if you said, hey, loop this part, it's always changing. Whether it's time signature, usually time signature is the weird thing with him because he's so fluid that he doesn't even give a shit. Like so like he'll bring a riff. So like Mongrel, I think we had to make it, fit into something. But he pretty much had that and the lyrics all ready to go on that song, I think, when he brought it in. Which like early on when we're like, do you want to sing? I think that kind of like that didn't solidify hell yeah until, the first couple shows, but that showed that like, oh, he's serious about this.
I think he filled in the role very naturally, obviously, but you guys, again, moving quickly. I mean, get right in the studio with Wes. Wes played in Reviver as well. So was that the connection there?
Yeah. Wes was my dude. He's like one of my best friends, and as a studio at the time was sharing the studio with Andy Patterson. So it was kind of like that's why those first two EPs were recorded with Wes and Andy. We were having a conversation of like, well, we need to record something. We're not really a band until we have a recording. And it was kind of like an obvious, like that everybody's down to go record something with Andy, but there was like also me advocating, but like we should maybe also like book some time with Wes. So I think we booked like 3 days with each of them for different sessions. And but that's why I knew Wes. I've known Wes since like 2008 or nine, probably.
Wes is pretty much the fifth member of Cult Leader at this point, as far as like always being. We don't do a tour without him anymore. We don't do, he's a front of house. He's a good reason why we don't sound like if we sound like shit at a show, it's not his fault, So yeah, he's an amazing dude, and his studio is ridiculous. His new one they made. So anyone that wants to come record, I would go to him 100%.
Your latest single he recorded as well, correct?
Yeah.
So just the whole thing there. Did the songs from these two EPs were they being pulled from like the same kind of like initial writing sessions? Was it just kind of like, hey, here's what we got, like we'll split it up? Was it even
Useless Animal and Nothing for Us Here?
Correct.
It was like Useless Animal was kind of like one side was a cover, so we knew we wanted to do a cover and we wanted to do a 7-inch. And then the other side, the song Useless Animal, there's actually a B-side from the Nothing for Us Here session. So there's another alternate recording of that never got released. When we did Nothing for Us Here, I think we tracked 8 songs, and actually we're like, well, we feel like we can release 6 of these. And then we wanted to re-record Useless Animal, do a cover, and then Gutter Gods was a song that we all knew we wanted to put on the next album. And so we're kind of just like, let's just put 2 bangers on here and a cover, and that's kind of how that came up. So Nothing for Us Here, we didn't know if we were going to be like, we didn't have a label, we didn't have like a plan. This could have just been pre-production or demo or whatever. And just happened to be that when Jake heard it, he was like down to put it out, and it is an EP. So, but at the time we had like no money, no time. It was just really, let's get in, and Wes is going to just really shake and bake this thing in a couple days with us, and did a great job, for the time crunch and everything.
And even that, like 24, like I think I read it was like you sent it to Jake maybe like the next day. He was like, all right, let's get it going. Let's work together.
I mean, yeah. We sent it to a bunch of friends saying, hey, we're still playing music. Let us know if this sucks. Not really, but like, hey, check, this is what we're doing. We recorded that kind of as a demo, more or less. I mean, or at least that's how we were approaching it. But yeah, we sent it to Jake just to be like, hey, we're not done making music. And he got right back and was like, hey, this is awesome. If you guys want to do stuff with Death Wish, let's go.
Doors open. Yeah, doors
and,
open.
and we're like, well, damn.
Yeah. I guess I could Jacob
Well,
Bannon.
damn. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Jake was huge at the end of like he took on a lot of stuff that Black Market was doing at the end of Gaza. So he's kind of he helped out that front as well. So and we met those guys from touring with him back in, with Gaza. So like we were good friends with all those guys at that point. So yeah, just it felt right from the beginning.
Nice. I know Dylan and I caught, I want to say it was your first tour that you did with Yautja in like 2014. Yeah, you guys played this like coffee house in Nashville. And
right behind and what's that? Exit In?
Yeah. Cafe Coco. It's like 20 for those listening, 24-hour coffee house that had like hardcore shows in the back. So it was wild.
I remember that show vividly. Yeah.
That
was
good.
Tour. Yeah. That whole tour. Yeah, those Yautja boys are some good dudes.
Unreal.
Great band.
Yeah. It was Yautja, Cove, and then our friends in Demeanor. But yeah, I just remember that place was always
those guys too.
Fucking hot. That place is always
kind of a miserable show, but the miserable ones are usually worth it. So they're either really good or dog shit. So
and then even I wish I'd caught the Oathbreakers first US run too. I mean, we talked about it a little bit during our we did an episode on Eros and Teros, but like both of you guys together on the same label at the same time. I mean, it must have been a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Also really good human beings.
Yeah, I believe that.
Shared a van with them just the whole time.
Really? Yeah. Gear, van.
Because we were just starting out and they're just doing their first like US headliner. And so it's like our second tour and their like first US. And it's just like nobody has any money. It was, like borrow our gear, ride in our van with us. Like nobody can lay down. It's just for like 3 weeks, and just now we're all like really good friends with those guys. Like everybody, yeah, very special band. And that was pre Rhea. Like that's like they were already an incredible band, and yeah, just that tour happened is so special.
Talk about riffs. Leonard is like fucking crazy.
Yeah,
and Jill.
Yeah. And Leonard had a.
He wasn't on that tour.
Yeah, he violated a U.S.
He got like banned from the States for like 5 years because he did a tour. Where he did a tour where he came to the U.S., went to Canada, tried to go back into the U.S., and they're like, whoa, no. and so they're like, he couldn't go to the U.S. for like 5 years to tour at least or something. So they had Levy, who is in the. Is it which dude or however you spell or pronounce that band?
I know you're talking. Yeah,
So,
with Jills,
and
he did stuff in Amon Ra as well.
Amon Ra as well.
Amon Ra.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So just great group of people and really fun tour.
So how quickly do you begin writing for your debut full length? What was all this touring and like the recording? When do you kind of get back to Salt Lake and begin kind of laying the groundwork for the album?
I mean, whenever we were home, we were writing, at least back then. So there, a lot of those riffs existed in that same time frame or were being born, but yeah. So, I mean, it was, whenever we were home back then, we were writing for whatever was coming next. So,
yeah, that was an era of like all four of us able to get in the room together multiple times a week and like really get it done. So I feel like from the very writing those first couple EPs all the way through Lightless Walk, it's almost like writing never stopped. Aside from like you go on tour for a few weeks, but yeah, it was just so go with writing. We probably had a good few months between like through the winter of 2014 into 15 that we were able to like kind of really hunker down and get it. Because I think we recorded in like April of 2015, so probably, what was that Oathbreaker tour, like July or August or something. So probably in that window was when it was like, all right, we gotta turn all these riffs into like solidified songs if we don't have, a few already.
You mentioned for the first EP you had like 6 or 8 songs and cut down some. Is that how you also wrote for or I guess, is that how y'all write for all the albums? Do you like overwrite and then cut down the amount of songs?
No, that's the only time that we've really done that.
I mean, usually because our filter for songs is tough, at least on our end. Like for all four of us to have a song go through the election process with us, it can be tough. So yeah, usually whatever is done is what's on the record because we're assholes to each other.
And we have like
it's never good enough.
And we have like a set window, at least with like Lightless Walk. It's like we're traveling to a studio like across the country to go record. So it's you want to be as prepared as possible. And like, should that song even be on the whiteboard being discussed by the time you're going out there in that kind of scenario? Otherwise, you're kind of just lighting money on fire. Like, we're trying to just get this record done. Like we can get tight in our own time, and we tore it out there, so we like brought our own gear and got to like be in tour shape as we were going into the studio. And
yeah, we were even playing some of those songs, right?
yeah, we probably had a couple of them just in the set to see how they feel, and probably also to put some minutes into the set. I mean, nothing for us here is like a 20-minute EP, and
Yeah.
Animals like only like 3 more minutes of original material.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask, did the songs change at all on the tour going up? Did y'all like play one of the songs and you're like, oh, this part didn't really feel good, so you changed anything?
Probably Anthony and Casey the most.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, like the next time we record a full length, we are going to put a camera on Casey 24/7. So you can witness. I mean, so he's the only drummer I've ever played with, so I don't have
Really?
I don't know how it works, but I know how he works, and that needs to be broadcasted. So that's Casey. It's happening. But yeah, I mean, like up until it's recorded, anything can change. I mean, I would say mainly with Casey, mainly. Structurally, usually the songs are set, but I mean, we'll throw a curveball once in a while. But Casey, he is always writing. Sometimes it's a detriment when you have a set amount of time, but usually the thing he's like, no, this is what I want to play. Is usually when he nails it, you're like, yeah, that's what you should have been playing. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing to watch. He's a one of one human being.
It seems like some of the more like sparser parts of the album, it seems like his drum parts are very fluid. Like they could change like every time he plays them, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, he's essentially, I mean, the thing I think we do with Cult Leader a lot of times is like the guitar will almost be the percussion in certain parts, and Casey's more of the
lead instrument.
Yeah, a lot of times that happens, but it's, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of music like what Cult Leader would be like, but I haven't heard too many bands that let the drums be the lead. But if you met Casey, you'd be like, huh, it makes sense.
So getting up to, Massachusetts, like, was that the original God City space, or?
It still is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where people still record. Yeah. Well,
I think he recorded under the moniker God City, even since he was doing like house recordings. But
Gotcha.
He did the build out on this place, and it still exists. So
I know you had like worked with him prior, on that last like Gaza record, but so I'm sure there was like a comfort, but what made him kind of the perfect person for this project, and how did maybe these sessions or this experience differ from working with Andy or Wes?
I mean, Kurt's just a magician in his own right. So it was a very easy choice early on. And the fact that he has a good idea of what we do and how to work with us. So it was kind of like that. And we just, yeah, it's great spending time with him. So anytime you could do that, it's like, yeah, it's no brainer. But yeah, I don't know. Sam hadn't recorded with him yet.
Do you feel like there were, Sam, were there differences with, recording with Wes and Andy than, coming into a new kind of engineer in a new studio, really?
Yeah, I mean, like this studio is definitely different, and everybody has like their own sound and stuff. But I I don't feel like he was like so like starkly different in like his approach. Like he's very there to engineer. We'll kind of produce on the fly, but we're not like spending a month with him writing the record. So it's really just like he's there to set up mics and just like help you find the right tone and like run Pro Tools, and like he'll make like an on the fly, oh, you should choke right there instead of ring out, and you're like, God, you're a genius, and you kind of get, and it's really nice. But he's not telling us like you need to play the chorus a third time in the song, or anything like that. It's very just like if something inspires him that you should change it, he will just bring that up. But he's not just like talking to hear his own voice or anything. Like he's very about like get the good sound and go. And they're all, I mean, Andy and Wes, everybody's kind of like punk enough to stay out of the artist's way, but like they're all musicians, so they can all give you they're a good kind of soundboard for like, hey, does this sound good? Like, did I get a good take? Because sometimes I need that because at least me, I'm like in the zone playing that and just trying to get through the task of playing all the parts in the studio. And it's good to have somebody's perspective who hasn't been in the practice space and heard every variation of every riff and combo, and they're just hearing it like as it is going into Pro Tools or whatever. And it's just like, hey, like I have this opinion, or just let you do your thing. But it was super cool being there. I was a fan of Kurt's work with engineering and stuff. So just felt cool being in that studio and just seeing the gear, hearing the tones, and hearing the first mixes back. It was just really, really cool.
This record has like the first, I guess like the first original song with kind of more singing vocals. And it's because of like the cover that you did on the EP. With like the more singing vocals, do y'all think it opened songwriting for y'all to do some different shit than what you had previously done?
I mean, that stuff's kind of always existed. We just have never made songs with them. I mean, I think for us, if someone said, hey, you need to write an album with these kinds of songs and then write an album with heavy stuff, we would finish the more depressive, whatever you want to call it, a million times faster, just because that's the stuff that we wang doodle at practice. Like
clown riffs.
That stuff just comes out of most of us. Not to say that the heavy stuff doesn't, but like usually when we're at practice, we just play even more sad American football riffs, and then we're like, okay, let's get serious, So, but yeah, I mean, doing that cover, I think Anthony felt way better about doing stuff like that, and incorporating that live was, I think, the biggest hurdle we had to figure out how to do. But as far as writing songs like that and playing, like recording them, that's the I don't want to say easier part. That's the part that I feel flows easier with us, as weird as that may sound. But maybe not for Sam. I don't know. Sam listens to sad boy music too, so
yeah. bunch of emotional boys on this podcast right now.
I mean, yeah. What is music for if not for that? Like,
right.
I think this album definitely evokes that for me. I mean, some of the stuff on here, like Sympathetic, makes me want to like drop to my fucking knees.
Yeah. I mean, that was I mean, for me personally, that was really, really dark time for me. So yeah, I have the same, I I mean, I haven't listened to that record from start to back in probably 5 years. Uh, but I need to do that again because yeah, I can pinpoint where I was with every riff, you know, whether it's writing it or I can remember certain days in the studio or not studio, but like our practice place and yeah, so like same like that. That's a very emotional record for me personally, just from the writing side. So
I mean, there's a lot going on as far as like, the themes and the lyrics of this record with, what I've heard Anthony discuss about it. Does that influence the riff or vice versa? Like when you're bringing some of the music, like how does that kind of play off of one another, do you think?
usually he would write all the I assume he has a bunch of uh, material written, but I very rarely has it been song specific. Usually, I mean, yeah, he's his own. He's his own crazy writing magician too. So, I mean, what's brilliant about his writing, I feel, is like he never writes something that is very to the point, like to the point. I mean, it's to the point, but like you can wrap anything you're going around with to his lyrics in your own life, and like you're like, oh, that makes sense. Where it's not like about it's not about a Coca-Cola can he kicked when he was 6. It's not very. It's I don't know. He's
ambiguous.
Yeah, he's very brilliant in that way, but still gets the point across. Which I mean, there's a lot of guys that can do that, but Anthony does that very well.
Mm.
And like as far as Anthony's writing, I mean, like I remember on that tour going out to record that he probably listened because we recorded some stuff at I don't remember if it was the practice space or we recorded all the songs, so he was listening all the songs that were mostly done. I mean, and he listened to those the whole tour and just wrote while we were driving out there. So he had really good ideas of the songs by the time we got to the studio. We tend to help him as a band, help him with like placements and stuff like that. But otherwise he's his own man. It's rare that we would change words. We might flip some phrases, but like usually they were locked down. It was just trying to find, since we typically are not writing in anything that, I mean, the grooves are hidden sometimes. So like to sing over something that's in a 7/8 when the drummer's playing a really 4 feeling, sometimes that's confusing to him.
But you can tell him to take a word out.
Yeah, and all of us. So yeah, usually we would be pointing at him when he's screaming. Like hit it right here. In case he'd be like, nah, I like it on the up. And you'd be like, God damn it. So
I don't know if I heard it was like it, you were saying like Kurt kind of just will mic stuff up, but I feel like I did hear a story where he like was in the isolation booth kind of like right with him, like very intimately, like kind of working him through like some of the maybe not this session, but I don't know. I'd heard something about that.
For the Patient Man session, a lot of the vocals were tracked in an ISO booth upstairs because we were on a time crunch. So we'd be still tracking stuff downstairs and tracking stuff upstairs. So he was in a comically small ISO booth closet, and Casey, it would be like, me and Mike are doing guitar and bass stuff downstairs with Kurt, and then Chris Johnson from Deaf Heaven was doing additional engineering and helping record upstairs. So Anthony and Casey would be working upstairs. So Casey would be like producing with Anthony, and Casey would be in there, and they're both like half naked because it's so hot in there, and they're just like face to face, and Casey's like talking him through the melody. Like Casey has a choir boy like brilliant brain about melody. He can reach it over to a keyboard and play exactly what he wants you to play, or like find the melody that you're singing. So he's very invaluable to the singing aspect of Anthony's vocal style, because Anthony's got the words, he's got the vibe and the style and the voice, but then, you're putting it to the music. It's really nice to have a bandmate be like, here, do this and stuff. But anyways, the funny thing you're thinking of, I think, was from the Patient Man
Gotcha.
session. But
Interesting. I love that. So what you were saying though, as far as it mostly being done, was it just arrangements as far as like what needed to be like kind of fleshed out when you actually did arrive at the studio?
for vocals,
Well, Mike, you had mentioned that like we showed up to the studio and it was kind of like the record was mostly done. So I don't know if there was like little.
Well, I mean, like
here.
most of the stuff structurally was done. Like I can't remember.
no throwaway tracks.
Yeah, I think how deep it runs was kind of written at the studio. All the parts were there, but I don't think we'd solidified how we wanted to play it. Which is why the song's strange. But man, that I feel like that's one of Anthony's best. Like early on, that was like damn. When like I heard the first, like when we heard the first like pre mixes, that's when I was like, damn, Anthony's found his spot. Because that song, I mean, everyone made fun of me when we were writing it because I would have to like be a conductor to play the riff because it's a weird boy.
Time changes and trickery in really slow music is actually harder to count than in really fast music, it turns out. You get lost in the sauce. You're just like crun, 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 crun. And then you're supposed to be thinking of when it's switching from a 3-fill to a 4-fill or something. And you're like, we're just hitting the same note.
But yeah, as far as arrangements, most everything was done. I don't remember Lightless Walk. All that was written, but we may have changed some stuff at the end of it. The actual song, which is it's the top, still in the top 3 favorite songs of mine that we've done.
We also hadn't really heard a lot of what Anthony was doing prior to going into the studio. It's like he was working on it tirelessly, but we hadn't like demoed out every word or anything. So it's really just like we recorded this clean song and he is saying, clean before, and we're just hoping that it all just like lands right. And so it's really cool to hear, that last piece of the puzzle kind of land.
Did you already know where you wanted all the songs on the album when you came in? No.
Interesting.
We do that
around mixing.
Yeah, I mean we didn't have the name of the album or any of the song names. Any of that stuff's not done until like the first day of mixing is when we like one of the last days. So like Lightless Walk was recorded and mixed in 10 days. So like maybe I can't remember, day 8, 7 or 8 is when we were like, this is gonna be the listing. I feel like Casey and Anthony they have a really good vibe feel on how a record should be A and B, and they think of it in that regard. So yeah, that all gets done when we're listening to the first draft of final mixes. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the A side and the B side and how they're setting up for the sequencing and how they're putting that together, because I did notice that it does flow like a traditional A side and B side. Each side of the record ends with a more experimental and open sounding track with like A Good Life on side A, and then side B obviously being the double header of How Deep It Runs and Lightless Walk. How did you make the decision, or how was the decision made to not end the record with How Deep It Runs? It's a personal favorite of mine, and that's the reason I'm asking on that one. Whereas like Lightless Walk is obviously the title track of the record, but you could almost interchange those because they do flow very well into each other and how they play with one another. But just I'm very keen on how albums move and how they flow. So what was some of the decision making that goes into that?
I think when we were writing Lightless Walk, the song, I'm pretty sure at practice we're already like, oh, that's an album ender. Like, and just in terms of like the dynamic, like long song, clean song, just total bummer. So that's kind of how I remember that one. I feel like I feel like we knew that that was an ender, and I feel like we all were leaning towards Great I Am being an opener because it's just like boom, crash or whatever. But yeah, on the AB thing, it was very intentional. Like make it feel like two solid EPs. If you just were listening to one side of this record, it from start to finish like feels like a good dynamic experience. And we all like Mike was saying, like we got our we're at the studio, we're like staying above the studio, so we literally just got the stuff from downstairs. We're listening to it together, and we're going through Anthony's lyrics as a band, trying to find what to turn into the album title or what to turn into the song titles and talking about the sequence. I just remember having like a very as a band, just everybody getting like really like yeah on the same page and really agreeing about a lot of like how to order things. It felt very right.
Mike, I saw that you had shared some photos from the sessions of this album. Could you maybe share for the dorks in this room and also the people listening, like maybe some of the gear you guys were using during that recording session?
Yeah, I mean, I shared photos that Sam sent me because I didn't take any.
Oh, okay.
I don't like. I'm not doing that shit when we're there. But
I got pictures of everything.
Yeah, you do. We had our own gear there, so that was the first time that I had used like one of my my hex cabs that my friend Tyler and Gentry make in Salt Lake, the Eagle Twin guys, and the 612 and that just sounds great. Oh, there you go.
Look at that! Wow,
look at that! Nice work. What amps was I using? Because I don't remember.
All right, so let's get into it.
I know there was one of Kurt's Sparrow Sons.
Yeah, the purple Sparrow Sun was like a high gain amp, and then you were running a Gibson Titan, like an old tube head with a prototype Stampede cloned pedal that would later become his Brutalist pedal. So I think he would use the Stampede pedal on the Gaza record, and this was like kind of a clone based on that, and so we used that on this record. So that was like clean-ish amp with the pedal, and then the Sparrow Sun. And then it looks like Kurt has a Marshall 810 guitar cab that's converted into a 412. So you use the 612 and that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tech.
Yeah.
And then I played on the same guitar I played since 2009, the very first one I built. That was pretty much the whole record. And then we may have thrown in a couple of Kurt stuff. Just I don't remember why we would have done that, but I mean we track everything twice, but rarely did we add more sauce. I mean, like if we had another 5 days, there was a lot of stuff that like in my brain I'd like to try, but like when you have 10 days, you're like, let's get the meat and potatoes and move on. But there's a lot of stuff on Lightless Walk I would have loved to add as far as like layering stuff, but almost every song. But sometimes it's nice when you don't have to worry about doing that stuff live. So maybe 10 days to record a record is like perfect for us because you can't add any of the stupid shit that was in your brain, So, but yeah, I remember like, I think guitars took a day and a half. Like once we got the tones, I mean, maybe the clean stuff we messed with a little more just because that was not something that we were very familiar with. I mean, Kurt called the Lightless Walk song the pillow song. Like, he's like, that's some boring shit, buddies. I mean, he didn't say it that way, but
he said we should sell this with a pillow or something so people can take a nap. Because he was getting bored. Kurt. He was getting bored while we were recording it. It's like a 7-minute song, and he's got to be like, all right, now bass. Now we set the guitar.
But yeah, I mean, that's one thing if I had any regrets is like taking better notes in the studio. I was doing like, it's funny. I was looking through, I had a diary that I was writing in back then, and none of it had anything to do with what was being recorded other than like, hey man, adjust the intonation on your G string tomorrow. Like stupid stuff like that. Like, you know, it had nothing to do with like, oh, I use this into this, which is stupid. But hey, but it's me. Yeah. Instead, I was writing poems about dumb stuff. Anyway, yeah. I mean, so like when at God City, he used to live like his apartment was above the studio, and he had since moved. So like he rents that out to bands now that are coming to record there. So like, yeah, you're just up at like 3 a.m. in the, you know, like, oh, we're gonna start recording at whatever it was back then, 9:30 a.m. or, but you just be up, and like he's got a room with 4 different, you know, 2 bunk beds, so you'd all be in the same room. And usually, I mean, Casey, the creature that he is, would be up like 5 a.m, you know, eating chips as loud as he could. Like, but like all of us, I feel like would just be awake at 3 a.m. just doing whatever. Like, I mean, when you tour the guy with I mean, what the thing I found with touring is like you find ways to have personal time, even though you never have personal time, you know, touring. So like that would be our times to just be like, we'd all be in the same room, but like no one's looking at one another, you know, like,
yeah.
So like it'd be your personal time to like reflect or like lock down what you have to do. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it sounds cool to end it there.
I like that. I think around the same time when someone was playing in a band, he was like, hey, you guys want to do like merch for us? And I just remember sitting in that car, like having no experience. I'm like, this is going to be great. It's exciting. And then no silence.
We didn't talk to each other the whole, yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. I'm sitting back there going,
I think that should be one thing that like everyone does is like a DIY tour, and you have to hit 10 states. Like, just like it's got to be more than like, you know, just like to, because I mean, what we found is like most people can't hang. I mean, you know, it's just, I mean, it's a dumb thing to do to like drive. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? I'm saying that, I don't even know what I mean by that, but like, it's touring is hard as fuck.
Yes.
You know, it's not an easy thing. Unless you have the mindset of what you're doing, and you have to do a few of them before you can frame that mindset. Cause yeah, we've taken, early on, we would take friends, you know, people on tour, to do merch or whatever early on. Like now we have a pretty set schedule, with who's coming with us and what's going on. But early on, you'd be like, you can come, and like you get like 8 shows into a 32 show tour, yeah. And they were just like, you could see them, the seams just falling apart. And it's not like we're not crazy drinkers. Like I could probably name it, you know, on one hand how many times some of us has, you know, been drunk beyond what we should have been, you know. Like we're pretty boring band to tour with, probably, because it's kind of business when we're on tour. Like,
right,
yeah,
we're stepping away from what we do normally to do this, which is what we, you know, like to do, but it's kind of business for us. So we want to do it as well as we can every day. But like most people can't. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's kind of like a science project to bring someone on tour that's never been on tour, and then be like, I think they got 7 days in them.
Speaking of touring,
yeah,
you guys tour with Deftones for this record. How was that?
Played some shows, right? Like a handful of shows after, maybe like what, like a handful of months after you put it out, I think.
The following March.
How did that? I know, Sam. I know your band, Ryle had just put out a cover, so I'd imagine you're a fan, or a handful of people are fans in this.
I mean, I think all of us are, yeah. But Sam might be the big. Sam and Casey probably are the.
I got lucky twice. Ryle also played Dia de los Deftones in 2023.
Oh, sick.
So, but this these shows that you're talking about, this was the first like us supporting another band off of Lightless Walk dates. Like we did one tour where we did like a headliner, like go out on the US by our own selves kind of thing initially after we put out the record, but it was like the following spring. It's like we were supposed to do some dates with Sumac, but they fell through. I think maybe because their drummer's Canadian and there was an issue.
Damn it, Nick.
So it ended up just being like, all right, I guess we're just playing. It was all in Texas, but it was like several shows in Texas and like all sold out, like thousands of people, just us and Deftones. Like,
Hell yeah.
so it was one of those things where it's like you see the email, like the offer, and you're just like, somebody's fucking with me. Like, there's no,
Yeah.
that's not, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, they were all very sweet people, and that was like such a surreal experience.
I think having seen you guys at Cafe Coco, I think I saw, I would imagine it was, I think that November at the end following the release of the record as well. But yeah, I'd have to imagine, playing with Deftones. I mean, when the record ultimately comes out, I mean, you get an offer to do that. Was there an interesting response to the album when it was released? Like, did you start making more connections or doors opening and more opportunities coming your way?
I mean, I think yes. I mean, the Deftones thing, I think, was just kind of like a
random luck.
Yeah, a random spark, in that I want to say Chino just happened to see a YouTube video of us playing the show. I think that's how it started. He was like, okay, and that's how that whole thing happened. It sounds like, I mean, I don't know. I probably can't speak for them, but like, it sounded like it was Chino's thought and brainchild to have us on those shows. And but yeah, I mean, I think anytime you're working really hard on stuff, eventually it can pay off. Like the opportunities will come. Most of the time you have to make them though. So
is there, what I know you had mentioned, like, wishing you could have maybe added a few things here and there, but what is on the record? Is there a particular like favorite section or song? Is there a particular moment on the record you're especially proud of? Something fun to play live even?
All of them are. I'm still waiting to play How Deep It Runs live. We have never played that live because we'd all probably fall over trying to count. I mean, Lightless Walk's my favorite thing on the record. Just from writing it to recording it. That one probably hits me the most in the chest, but I'm trying to go through the songs on the record that I forgot.
I mean, from the moment it opened, I mean, like the way the Great I Am just like fucking hits you in the chops, like as soon as you fucking turn it on, is like, I think it's like just such a great opener. Kind of like get the feel of like, oh, we're like not gonna feel great after this one, I think. But I'm a glutton for punishment, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many like.
It's a good song to open a set with too.
Yeah, I believe it.
That's a fun one. That's in 5. It's in 5 mostly. Yeah. Was it called 5 Guys?
5 Guys.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
The working title.
The working title.
I think we can name. I think we probably say 60% of the working titles in public.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The other ones we'd have to like blur out. I'll have to find that. I have a list of the whiteboard somewhere. That was like top secret. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember all the working titles now. Man, there's some good ones. That's another one of Casey's, like, his brain says the dumbest stuff you've ever heard. But it makes sense. You're like, yeah, I know exactly what song. Or like a lot of the working titles would be like
Sad Astronaut.
Yeah, Sad Astronaut was one. That was Gaza Times. And I can't remember what that morphed into, but
I think that might be how.
Was that Lightless?
It might be. It might. I think it's one of the slow jams on that song. I think it's on the whiteboard.
I'll have to look at that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the
Lost.
working titles are amazing. We should re-release a record with just the working titles.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
having this experience, how do you feel like going through the process of writing this record and recording it? Like, how do you feel like maybe it influenced A Patient Man, or, some of the future things you did with, like the split did with End, and, the single you released a few years ago?
I mean, I feel like you're always trying to learn and grow. So that was just another step. I don't know that it's harder to keep writing songs, but like, it seems like you raise the bar on yourself to write something that you'd be like, oh, like to get that feeling in your chest, like whatever, like the first time Lightless Walk, when we put it, in one go. The first, like, if you want to call it the verse, like the first time we nailed that, I was just like, yeah, that's why we're doing this, and that bar gets, at least for me personally, I throw a lot of riffs away that doesn't give me that feeling anymore. And I think that's part of the reason why it might be difficult for us to write more songs than what a record could be, just because like they have to pass a certain part with all of us to keep moving on. And a lot of them don't do that. So, but yeah, I mean, like, you definitely just keep learning every time you record, write, record, play them live. I mean, like we do stuff on Lightless Walk. There's a few songs we play, like Sympathetic. There's 2 or 3 guitar parts that I know, and Casey too, but like I know there's guitar parts they've grown up from whatever kid they were, and that, when we recorded it to now when we play them live, where you're like, damn, wish I would have been smarter back then to play it this way. But it's just cool. It's that kind of stuff's cool. Like, and like when Casey will, I mean, usually it's something he's just like, he just wings it live. And a lot of times, like me and him have code for like looking at each other, depending on how high my eyebrows raised. Like, woo, that was close to being no bueno, or like like you nailed that. And same with like Sam will be the first person to give me a wink if like I do something dumb, but like that kind of stuff, it's cool to like see, like you can play a song for 10 years, or 12. Some of these songs are older than that, but like, and they keep turning kind of the knob on the song keeps slightly changing. And sometimes it's like no one would ever notice, but that's cool. And when someone notices live, you're just like, man, you're just as much as a nerd as we are. Like, that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Sam, how do you feel? Do you feel like this experience maybe influenced how you approach future Cult Leader releases, or maybe some of your other projects outside of the band?
As far as recording and kind of like learning from that experience, yeah, I think just kind of you really have to clamp down when you're traveling somewhere to record, and it's one of the things that I cherish about being able to record locally, when I do, because it's like, oh, time is so nice to not feel under the gun. But at the same time, there's magic in like getting it done and committing. That's like, because I could just sit and have open tabs all day and never close anything and never get anything done. But when you're like, all right, we have, as of day 8, we need to, mics are down and we're mixing, and just seeing, the process of, you record this, then you do this, and I don't know. I wouldn't know how to elaborate on any of it quickly in a podcast, but just the part of me that's like a little bit nerdy and interested in recording and gear and stuff was just very like, how do I absorb all of this? Are there any tips and tricks that I can bring home with me, that like, hey, I can be very heavy-handed when I'm recording, with like Wes or somebody, like, hey, I have these ideas, I want to do this way, and he's very patient and entertaining of me with that. Whereas with like Kurt, it's like, well, I travel all the way out there, and it's probably like, I'm not saying no patience, but we're not there to like fuck around and let me go set up the drums outside and we'll play them out there, or like shit like that. It's very like, we're focused, we're getting it done, we're gonna get the best, tones. Not that it's like there's no experimentation or anything. It definitely did everything necessary to get the good sounds, but I think, compared to like moving forward to like A Patient Man, we did a lot of the same, 10 days out at God City. But so you kind of know what I knew what I was getting into. We all knew what we were getting into because we'd done that. So for me, it was my first time with Kurt. So I think I had more to grow from just that experience.
Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but maybe to kind of like wrap up the album discussion, just, to kind of mirror what you said earlier, Mike, like when I listen to this record, I can kind of like picture where I was at the time when I heard it and like getting into new music and getting into underground music, especially 10 years onward. Like, how do you feel about it? How do you feel the legacy about this record? What do you hope people get out of it when they listen to it?
I mean, I don't know anything about like legacy and stuff, but like, I mean, it means a hell of a lot to me, this record. And if it makes people feel just like nice, even a sliver of how I feel when we were writing it and recording it and having it come to be, then it's a win. Like if it can make someone have some kind of emotional experience, however that may be, that's what music's there for. So, yeah, other than that, I don't think too much about it other than like, I should probably listen to it again to remember half the stuff.
Sam, how do you feel about it 10 years later?
Feel good. Still really proud of it. Very fond of the memories of, just touring off that record. I mean, we toured with Dillinger off that record. We toured with Converge off that record. We went to Europe for the first time off that record. It was so many like firsts on another level for me, and just getting to play those songs during that time was really special. And I don't know what everybody else, thinks of it 10 years later or whatever, but I hope they're not bored of it.
What's your least favorite song on the record? Let's start there.
That'll be the pillow song. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to talk to us about it. And I know you guys got some other things going on too. I mean, I know Ryle had played some shows earlier this year or over the summer even. I know you played with Coalesce and a few things here and there. Anything else in the works that you could touch on with that band as well, or maybe some of your other creative endeavors?
As far as Ryle, yeah, we have a new album that's already, I can't like announce anything about it, but it's finished in terms of being like written and mixed and mastered and all that, and just figuring that out for next year and how we're going to tour and support that. And that's mostly what I got going on outside of this.
Oh yeah, Mike, I know MSM Guitars. You recently kind of like launched your like online store. How are things going on that front?
Good. Yeah, I decided that. I've been building since I built my first guitar in 2009.
Oh wow.
So like, I finally was like, well, if I'm going to do this, let's do it right. And so it's been good. It's been a slow build. I haven't tried to like jump out of my skin yet, but that's coming with it. But that, and we're going to start writing a new record with Cult Leader. So yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
So those two things, and yeah, having a 2.5-year-old running around. That's a party. So
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how you guys, you mentioned like during this album kind of being all together in the same space. And I know Anthony's been kind of out of the Salt Lake area for a long time, but how do you guys navigate it? Like, I mean, that's
now, what we're still trying to learn that, but
yeah.
It's gonna be yeah, we don't. It's the short answer. But we'll start doing the email thing and sharing riffs that way with yeah. I mean, it's weird for us because we've always written in the same, we've always done music in the same room at the same time. I mean, like that EP we did with End, and there's a song from that we haven't released yet. But that's that. So like that song we haven't released is probably the second favorite thing we've ever done.
Really? Oh, damn it!
That we haven't released. So it's just been sitting for 2.5 years or whatever that is now. But it's hard. I don't know how bands do it. Like unless you have one nerd that's playing and writing everything. Okay, but like I have no idea how to be democratic about it, and a lot of the goods come from being in a room, Sunday morning after, like, we're a breakfast band, so like on tour, breakfast is like that's the first thing you do in the day, and then the rest of the day can go downhill from there. But you got to have breakfast. So like we used to get breakfast on Sunday mornings and then go write for half a day, and like that's where the good stuff comes from. So like how do you replicate that when you're not in the same room? That's the magic trick. So put it in the comments below how you do that.
Yeah, reach out. Reach out and let.
Does anybody know?
Before we go, maybe we could just end like we typically end each episode with like some recommendations of things we've been listening to. Could be heavy, it could be non. Maybe if there's even a horror movie that you like during this season, I'd love to hear about it.
Let's see. Musically, I would give a shout out to Nex. That's Neks. That's a Wes Johnson band he just put out an album recently. So yeah, been listening to that.
It's pretty good. I'm trying to think of the last audiobook I listened to. Someone like listen to all of Richard Feynman's lectures. There's probably like 200 hours of them.
God damn.
Just listen to those. I've been called worse. Musically, man, who I listened to the other day who like made it. I hadn't listened to Ween in like, well, probably like 10 years. I was just like, I used to be a huge Ween fan, and I listened to, I don't remember even what album it was. It was kind of a mixture of, I think, quite a few of the earliest stuff. But man, what a like, yeah, Ween. Listen to Ween, and it's Ethel Cain. Like, just put those back and forth. That'll hurt your brain.
Like the Ween country record, and then like
listen to Ocean Man, and then listen to Nebraska. Just like bam. You want to get punched in the gut, and I don't know. That's a good combo though. But yeah, Ween, that's a weird one. I've been listening to a lot of older Sun Kill Moon again. Because if I wanted to listen to his new stuff, I'd just turn an audiobook on. Like
eat that, Mark.
No, I mean, Mark
he
is
likes
one
audiobooks.
Yeah, I love audiobooks. Like, it's a compliment. And a lot of our softer stuff. I mean, we're playing in tunings that he wouldn't play in, but if they were in tunings he's written songs in, they would sound like Sun Kill Moon or Red House Paint. Like, they would sound. He's a huge influence. Even his vibe, I think, kind of slowly goes through us. At least with the older material. But yeah, I mean, he's one of my top influences, but not kind of grown. I mean, I go stretches of time without listening to music. So like I go straight to listening to textbooks on, like dumb stuff. But it'd been a minute since I listened to Sun Kill Moon, and goddamn, that's great stuff. What about you guys? Give us something. Give me something.
Shit. Dylan, what do you got?
So I really have enjoyed the new Author and Punisher record, Nocturnal Birding. I've really enjoyed the hell out of that. It's the first record I've really invested a lot of time with the artist in. It's got, it's his 8th release from I've grasped. It's got Dave Sabolick, formerly of A Life Once Lost, playing guitar on the full record. Kind of sounds like
interesting.
It kind of sounds like kind of Psalm 69 era Ministry, just really chaotic shit. And every song is about a different type of bird, which is just a weird aspect to it. But it's a fucking great record, and it's short. It's like 30 minutes.
In honor of spooky season, I'm going to go with The Evil One by Rocky Erickson.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna. This is a new one. I kind of recommended another single from this record, but this is "In the End, The Gift Is Death" by Barren Path. It's a newer band. It features members of Gridlink and Maruda. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could.
Oh wow.
But, they have a debut record coming up, "Grieving." It's gonna be out on Halloween, so all spoopy season again. Will it tip? But yeah, I don't know. A little bit more like death metal leaning than Gridlink, I guess, but it's fun as hell. I like it a lot. Also, Lightless Walk. Listen to that record. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but it's a good one.
I'm still trying to remember all the fucking songs on the record.
If I threw out a title really quick, could you tell me the working title?
Working title.
Broken Blades.
If you gave me a second.
Sure.
So Broken Blades, there was a moment in that song that would have broken a less stronger singer, and that we had just recorded the vocals for that day, and we were all upstairs in like the main living room, and Sam and Casey may have partaked in happier things, but we were sitting around eating whatever dinner we had, and Broken Blades has Sam had to be high. I'm just gonna put that out there. he was feeling it, and we were sitting around listening to whatever rough mix we had of it, and there's a lyric in there that says, "There's a fire."
You're thinking of Walking Wastelands.
What? Oh, see, I don't even know my own stuff.
I know exactly what moment you're talking about.
Okay, so what? Broken Blades. So Broken Blades. I got it. So that's another song that Anthony probably wrote half of the guitar to. So that song, he was like, "Dude, I'd really like to record the guitar on the verses." Or no, he played the song all the way through. After we wrote it, he learned how to play the whole thing, and one of the tracks is him playing, and the other one's me. But that's a Broken Blades. Yeah, well, I'm thinking of Walking Wastelands. What are the lyrics to Broken Blades?
Oh, I don't know. But with Walking Wastelands, we're all in the control room. We're like tracking, and Anthony has headphones in, and he's like really working on but he's like whisper fake screaming the lyrics to himself. And like Kurt just like hits spacebar and stops and just like turns like all the way around to him to be like, "What the hell?" Because he's just sitting there like whisper screaming and like not aware that he's like in a room with everybody.
Is that why we were making fun of him later?
Yeah. That's why we quote that there's a fire.
Yeah.
Well, there's other reasons. There's other reasons, other fires that have happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about the wrong song. That's cool.
Working title for Broken Blades, so I'm not sure.
Do you have that photo of the whiteboard?
Probably, but I would have to scroll through a whole phone to find it.
Don't look at those.
Yeah.
Well, before we incriminate anybody, I guess I really appreciate you guys.
Legal.
Yeah. Thank you guys again so much for taking the time out to talk about this record. It's one of my favorites. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, that's that means a lot. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to write music with a bunch of your friends and have people even give two shits about it. So appreciate that. Yeah, that's very awesome.
Well, listen to it. Stay tuned for more Cult Leader in the future. You can follow us at Riff Worship Pod, Instagram, Twitter, all the stuff's below. But for myself, for Swindle, for Dylan, for Michael, for Sam, you've been listening to Riff Worship. We'll be back next week with something else. See ya.